Extreme 3D Cornucopia Acrylic Nail Art Tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish. Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to be showing you this Extreme 3D Cornucopia. So it actually sits up off the nail and then it's got all the produce spilling out of it. There's a pumpkin and some apples, some corn. It's very, and the fruit itself, besides the pumpkin, isn't very detailed. It's just very simple. It's just kind of almost like a still life painting, just nice, you know, simple, soft looking. And then the cornucopia, like I said, it sticks up off the nail. This was kind of an undertaking to do. The cornucopia itself took a little while just because it was so many layers to build up to get it to be that big and to sit right and everything. But I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I love how it is just sitting there like it's actually sitting on something. So I really like it. I hope you guys like it too, and please click subscribe to see all my future videos as well. So to begin with, on this one, I'm actually going to be starting with an overlay of just white acrylic. So just white acrylic across the whole nail. The reason I went with white is because I really didn't want the background to be a focal point of the nail. I wanted to just be very clean and simple and kind of non-existent. So I would either go with something that's either like a white or something that was just like a cover pink or nude. Just something that's not really going to be visible. But you guys can kind of play around with that and kind of match whatever the rest of the set is too if you're doing this as a set. So now I'm going to be encasing that white with just a layer of clear. This is really going to get some strength. Plus, I love putting clear on top of my colors because it creates this little kind of like a floating effect with the 3D art, which I love. So I always make sure to do that as well. So now I'm going to be filing the nail into shapes. I'm starting with my barrel shaped really coarse bit that just kind of removes acrylic very effectively and very cleanly. So it'll just get rid of any bulk that's hanging out there, and then smooth over the surface of it with a much finer bit that's almost more like buffing it. So there we go. So now on a nail form backing, I'm going to be sculpting out just kind of like a base idea of my cornucopia. So this is the cornucopia if you're looking at it from directly at the side. I'm doing this with clear. You can do this with like a brown acrylic if you want, or black or clear, or, you know, you can kind of, I wouldn't do something that's obnoxious. I wouldn't do like lime green, but, you know, you can kind of do what you want there. But I did just do it with clear because I figured that was the easiest. Once that's dry though, take that off, and then I am attaching that to my brush cover with just some poster putty just to hold it in place while I'm working on it. And I'm going to start building up one side of it. So I'm doing one side, then flipping it over and doing the other side. So for the first side, I'm just going to kind of place a bead down, then stretch it along the entire length of the cornucopia, and then kind of keep building up the mouth of it because it's wider, but it's bigger around. So you got to kind of create like a half circle. So if you look at it from the top or from the end, it should have a nice, very rounded appearance on that side. So just make sure that you build that up enough, and then once that's done and it's set, you can flip that over. Same system, go ahead and then start building up the other side. Same exact process, making sure it has that really nice rounded shape, almost to the point that when you look at it down from the top, it's got a nice perfect circle, which I know is very difficult to do. But once you have that done, then you're going to want to take your e-file, very narrow bit, and just kind of smooth it out. It's probably not going to be perfect. There's probably going to be this weird little ridge on the top and the bottom of it. Go ahead and just kind of clean that up. Also smooth off the very end of it because that's going to have all these different layers of acrylic where they meet, and it's not going to be a smooth, flat surface. So just flatten that out as well. So just kind of fix it up here and there, any place that needs it. I don't have my e-file in a very high speed for doing this. It's pretty low. I'm using light pressure and just removing little bits of acrylic at a time. You just spent all this time building this up. You don't want to take too much of it off and have to add more to it again. So just kind of do it, you know, piece by piece, little bit by little bit, and just keep looking at it. But then I also took and I kind of flattened off the bottom some, just so that it would set nicely on the nail once it got to that stage when you're ready to attach it. Then I'm using bronze acrylic, but you can use any sort of gold or brown, really anything that's very naturally toned will work for this cornucopia. But I'm using bronze because I think I really like that color for so many things. And I'm just going to kind of create a band around the end of it, around the end of the cornucopia. Then taking a silicone tool, I'm going to start carving out thinner sections of it so that it's got that kind of woven appearance. So just taking that, and I'm just going to carve basically 2 lines through that band of acrylic that I have on there. Now don't put on too much acrylic that you don't have, I know I'm a little bit out of focus here, that you don't have the time to create those 2 circles that go around it. So just make sure that you're doing this in kind of small sections and working on it bit by bit. But as you can see, it's now got 3 ridges in it instead of doing 1. Now you can do these individually and sculpt thin little bands going around it, around and around and around, but that's going to probably take you significantly longer and frankly probably not turn out as well. If you don't have a silicone tool, you can also use like a toothpick or something, but with that, you're probably going to want to frequently dip it into some acrylic powder so that the acrylic that's on here is not going to stick. So you got to kind of keep that in mind. So then this is the third section, and by the time you get that second one done, you can go ahead and hold that first one like I am, because it's going to be set at that point, so you don't have to really worry about it. So I'm just going to flip that over, and once you get to where you're doing the end, they go very quickly, and it's just those first two that seem to take that extra little bit of time. But you can kind of really start, plus you kind of get in the zone with this, so you can really get those little lines carved out very quickly once you get to the end. Even if you just kind of hold your silicone tool or toothpick or whatever you're using in place and then kind of curve the cornucopia around, you can really get them done fast. So you do kind of, like I said, get in the groove with it. So then I'm going to take a bead of the same bronze acrylic and set that right on the end of it that currently was just clear at the moment. And I'm just going to let that set for a little bit until it starts to turn matte, which I know is a little funny to look at when it's these metallic colors because they don't ever look super matte. But I'm going to take my little dotting tool dipped in an acrylic powder just so it's not going to stick, and I'm just going to kind of stretch that bead out and out and out and out around so that it creates that nice little lip around the end of your cornucopia. So that clear is just going to kind of disappear and you're not going to really see it, and it looks like you can look into the cornucopia, look down into it. And the other great thing about the bronze acrylic is that it leaves a sort of film on things, so you kind of still keep that shimmery color and you don't really see the clear anywhere. The clear completely disappears even though you've kind of scraped around on it, and it probably wouldn't with a different color. With this one it will. So now I'm going to be attaching my cornucopia to the nail with some clear acrylic, just placing a bead down and then holding it in place. I would definitely recommend doing that with acrylic instead of trying to do it with nail glue. If you do it with nail glue, you're going to have to more securely attach it with some clear acrylic as well, just because it's got all those ridges on it that nail glue is not going to give you a very strong hold. So you got to have something that's going to fill in those ridges to attach it to the nail. But now with green acrylic, I'm just going to add a little row of leaves that go all the way around the bottom of the cornucopia. This is going to hide any weirdness that's happening with where it's attached, for one thing. Plus it just kind of creates a really nice little border, like somebody took time to really lay this out and present it. So then I just opened up a whole bunch of colors that I thought were autumn appropriate. And I'm going to start adding all of my produce that is pouring out of the cornucopia. The one that I spent the most time and did the most detail on was a little pumpkin. So this is the one that I'm beginning with, and for whatever reason, I never seem to have enough orange acrylic, so I just added, I don't know if you noticed that, I just kept adding little bits more and little bits more of this orange acrylic. This is the first color of acrylic that I bought, and it's the only one that I have that's this weird little off-brand, and it's a very strange consistency that, since it's the only one that I have, I haven't quite figured out, even though I've had it for, I don't know, a while, since, like I said, it's the first color I bought, however long ago that was. But that's the one they spent the most detail on, or that I took the most time to make detail with. So it's got the little ridges like the pumpkin, or like a pumpkin has little bumps in it, and then a little stem on the top. But then I just took and made very simple shapes, pretty much circles for everything, except for I have 2 ears of corn that I made into like a bar shape, like a ear of corn would be. And I used burgundy, brown, peach, and yellow for everything here. So my burgundy and my brown in this small little amount looks pretty much the same, so you can't really tell the difference between those two. But everything else, you can see different colors. Just kind of keep it in those fall tones. And then I went through and I added a couple leaves here and there just to sort of fill in any gaps and kind of add more of that color in there. And then you're going to want to add just some very soft shapes that are inside the cornucopia mouth. Just not a lot, just a little bit. I know it was really hard to see in the video since it was inside, but you can see it in the pictures. But just so that it doesn't just stop, it looks like there's more happening on the inside, like it's all full. And then I'm going to take with a darker shade of green, and I just went through and kind of added a very soft detail on the leaves, and then added some highlights and some color on all the little bits of fruit. Now the reason that like I said, really the only piece that has any detail on it really is the pumpkin, and even that's minimal. I wanted to keep this very soft looking, like I said. So then I'm just going to take very mild highlights on the cornucopia with diluted white, and a couple little white highlights on the other bits of fruit here and there. And then with diluted black, I'm just going to take and kind of fill in some of the little indents in the top of the cornucopia and then around some of the fruit. But I wanted to keep it all very soft and very like a still life in watercolor. That's kind of the thought that I had in my head when I was doing this. So I'm going to be doing a gel sealer over the background, which is basically just that white. So just a little bit of gel sealer, cure that, and then apply matte top coat over all the 3D stuff. So over your cornucopia, over the fruit, over the leaves, over all of that. And that is it. Like I said, this nail is so much fun. It's so 3D, and it's just alive sitting there on the nail. I'm very happy with it. I hope you guys like it too, and please share any recreations with me on Facebook or Instagram. I would love to see them, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!